Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another Scale Riders podcast episode. I'm your host, 65 Lokes. This is episode number 251. How's everybody doing? I hope you guys are well, hanging out, taking you guys with me on this ride, on the journey from LA all the way out to Oxnard right now. So last night I was on live on the Scale Riders YouTube channel, and I was on there for about like 50 some minutes, and I was really happy with yesterday's live stream just because of the quality of the picture of how it looked. It was a lot better compared to I believe it was Friday night, or it might have been a Friday night when I went on live. No, not Friday night, maybe Thursday night. Yeah, it was a Thursday. I went on live and I was up pretty late. And it, after the recording was done, YouTube saves the videos, so you could later even edit them, publish them, whatever you want to do with them, right? So I was looking at the stream and I noticed it was very pixelated. It just did not look right. It looked very weird, and I was like, oh man, I was very disappointed. So I ended up taking down the video from there. So I was actually cleaning my airbrushes during that video, because I had posted on Instagram that I was setting up the booth and everything, and I had cleaned a couple of airbrushes and I still had more I needed to clean. So that night I was like, you know what, why not just jump on the live and let me see what's up with my camera. So I have this Logitech camera with the USB cord that I connect to my laptop, and it's pretty much like a webcam. I've had for a while, and I just never really dug too deep with the settings, because back then when I was using Zoom, it was very limited on the settings on what I could do, right? So the quality was okay. I was expecting a lot more, but it just wouldn't do it. So then I started using other softwares, like the OBS software, and that one you could get a little bit more into it with the settings, and then from there you could connect that to your YouTube or even Zoom. But with the Zoom, I was using it for a bit. I'm going to continue using it, because especially when I'm going to have a guest on the show, if we're streaming live, that's going to be the way I'm going to be able to connect with the guest and be able to stream it live. But let's say by myself, solo ones, I want to definitely be able to have the OBS, just because of the settings and everything. It just looks a little bit more better. So yesterday I was going on there, I was like, you know what, let's check it out, let's see how things are. And yeah, I was very happy with the way things looked. The sound, if I'm close to the camera, it sounds okay. If I'm far away, it's not gonna sound great. You're gonna definitely notice a dip in sound. It's gonna drop down, but it just takes time to finally narrow it down to where I want it. So I'm not really getting frustrated or tripping on any of that. I feel like there's some progress, but there's still gonna be more coming down the pipeline right there. I've been looking at other types of cameras. There's some interesting cameras that are really tiny, with some AI technology, where these cameras will move and just follow you wherever you go. I was like, oh man, that looks pretty crazy. So I might be investing in something like that in the future. We'll see. The internet connection is pretty strong for being where I'm at. I was like, oh cool. I thought I wasn't going to really get any kind of connection, or need some kind of extender, but it actually gets a pretty good connection, and I'm happy with that right there. So once I get it down and everything, I'm gonna start creating somewhat of a schedule as to what days I'm gonna podcast, what days I'll be going on live solo, things like that. Build days, I do want to set something up at night where I have time. I'll work on builds, and also some product showcases. So definitely gonna touch on that, new arrivals, things like that. Things that you guys are interested in. everything that has to do with the hobby. We just recently received the new Auto Modeler magazine that just dropped, issue number 6, and man, it's awesome. There's some really cool articles on there, and also just event coverage. It's cool right now, man, when it comes to the content like that, like something tangible, physical item that you can hold in your hands. It's pretty cool, man, because we got a dedicated magazine, we got the Auto Modeler, and then we also have the Model Cars magazine. We got 3 magazines right now. Back then we used to have the Scale Auto, but then unfortunately, they had to kind of cut the cord on the Scale Auto, and they still have their other, I believe it's Fine Scale Modeler, or I'm not even too sure, but that's kind of like their main one, the main umbrella that held all the other magazines that they had, like other different genres. But the Scale Auto one was on for a long time, and a lot of people really enjoyed that right there. And shout outs to the other 3 mags that are in there, because these 3 mags, they're independently owned and operated. You'll go to the shows and you'll be able to meet the guys that operate and run these magazines, and also people that are helping out, contributing to the magazine as well with photographs, articles, things of that nature. But at least know that every time you pick up one of those magazines and you see your friends in there or you're featured in there, at least know that, hey, like, this magazine, it's an independent magazine, and it helps like supporting something like that. It's pretty cool. And it's like everybody, everybody in the community, it's all, everyone shows love. It's all about love and just kind of pushing each other, because if we could help each other out by suggesting things like, hey, check this out, I got this item here, or hey, do it this way, or hey, have you ever tried this out? All those kind of conversations, or even asking like, how'd you do that? All those kind of conversations is good, because it definitely keeps the bloodline and everything going with model building. And it's a trip, because you always hear people say like, oh, the hobby's dying. And I mean, I don't know, I feel like if someone's saying that, you gotta kind of be like, well, Dan, what are you doing? What have you built, or what's going on? Or what are you doing on your part to help it, if you feel that's the that's what's happening. And I don't know, I just feel like right now there's a lot of information, there's a lot of projects, there's a lot of kits, there's a lot of things to do. I think what we don't have is the time. I think that's what we need more of, the time than the actual, because companies, they're making stuff a lot. They're still, even like AMT is still cranking out stuff, round 2 models. Revels is coming out strong, and we do at times hear the news like, oh, this company's going out, but then somebody else comes in to save it, or they pivot, something happens where it's almost like, nah, let's not give this up. The same with like Scale Motorsport. The original owner, it was time for him to retire and pass the torch, and sell the company. And it's awesome that somebody did buy it, and is also a skilled artist that knows the product, and is going to continue it, because it's tough to find someone to actually buy your company and continue it. Things might change a little bit of how it's operated and run, but for the most part, it's going to still be the same, so at least we have that. And I mean, you have a lot of European companies still coming out with with products that are starting to make their mark. They're starting to become mainstream in the US, like AK Interactive. You have a lot of Japanese companies too that have great products that are starting to become a bit mainstream. For example, like Hasegawa, that's starting to become a bit more, especially with like their tools and their materials. Because think about it, like you go to your local hobby shop, right? The top two, like, or top three mainstream brands, and when I say mainstream, it's like these are the brands that are gonna pop in your head when you think of model kits, right? It's gonna be Revell, AMT, and Tamiya or Tamiya. Those are gonna be the three that are gonna like just like pop in your head, you know, either by their logo, the name itself, being a, you know, a veteran model builder, a current, or whatever, you know. Those are like the top three, right, that are mainstream across the board, long history in the US, right, that are being sold, that you'll see in majority of hobby stores in the US, right? And you do see these as well, like overseas and in different areas, but I'm talking about like the US market, like for us that are here. I'm speaking for us that are here in the US. So when you go to a hobby store, you know, sometimes they'll have Hasegawa kits. Not all the time. They don't really have the full line. They don't really carry all the kits. They only carry certain ones, you know, because they are going to be more expensive compared to these other kits. And sometimes not everybody's into that, right? But at the same time, Hasegawa has an extensive line of tools and materials. And I feel like, you know, people are starting to not only just pick up the kits, but now they're starting to get all this other stuff too. The tools and the materials. They're starting to dive deep more into the brand. And I feel like Hasegawa is like on that way, on that market. They've been around for a long time. But I know, like, for me back then, you know, I wasn't going to a hobby store and like seeing the box artwork or just a Hasegawa kit and being like, oh wow, I want to build this, you know. It was like that was being passed over. I was like more looking at the other stuff, and even friends of mine, they weren't really like raving about it or anything like that. Now it's a bit different. I mean, now it's changed. It's a like everyone's very open-minded to stuff, you know, and it's like they keep coming out with stuff, so they're starting to make their mark and they're starting to be up there, you know. It's like God Hand, you know. I always felt like God Hand is like a really like a dope premium brand. But the one thing about God Hand that I feel like somewhat hurts their brand in the US, that makes them not as popular, is just it's not as mainstream as it should be. And I feel like it's going to take a long time for it to get there, for people to really explore the extensive line of work like that they have. I feel like the nipper, the God Hand, their ultimate nipper is like the one that is kind of pigeonholed them as a brand into just the nipper, being known for that because of how expensive it is. And also at the same time, in the past, people would complain of how fragile they were, and it took me a while to be like wait a minute, what's going on? Like, I have those original nippers and I've never had an issue with them, but there's people posting photos of them breaking and stuff. But then once you realize, wait a minute, like, yeah, they're not for everything, you know. You got to think, like, these were specifically made for Gundam kids because the plastic is soft. It's a very soft plastic, so when you when you cut it and you start cutting all the pieces off the tree, it cuts like butter. It cuts really nice. But let's say you use those same nippers and you go, all right, cool, I'm gonna jump on an AMT kit, and then you start cutting the plastic. That plastic is a bit harder, it's a little sturdier, it's different. And you know, what if you're like, all right, cool, I already cut all the pieces out, but now I want to use, like, I don't want to throw away the whole tree. I might need, like, you know, like the edge, like the little round rod or whatever, right? And sometimes that thing could be like 2 to 3 millimeters thick, and you go, cool, I'm gonna cut this. If you use that type of ultimate nipper, since it's more thin, it's gonna break for sure. It's not meant for it, and you're not gonna get a clean cut. You're gonna have to use more of an aggressive, like, nipper to cut that, you know. So that right there hurt that brand from what I saw, you know, and not a lot of people were picking it up. And people who did want to pick that up, they were always like, man, I'm still saving for that. Like, I don't know if I want to spend $55, $60 on a pair of nippers, you know. And yeah, that is a lot. Like, when you think about it, you go, dang. But I feel like it's one of those things. Once you buy it and once you start using it and applying it and you start getting the results, then you start to tell yourself, all right, you know, I think it's worth every penny. Like, it's definitely doing its thing. It's pretty dope. Let me take a sip here real quick, guys, from my coffee. I'm kind of curious to see how hot it is. Okay, not that bad. Not that bad. I had prepped it at the pad, and I had it in this tumbler that keeps it at the temperature. And I was just like, man, I wonder if it's like super hot over here. But no, it's actually pretty good. So, you know, Aoshima's been like working really hard too to be up there as a mainstream brand as well. And I mean, their logo, the colors, everything. I mean, a lot of people know the brand for sure, and I feel like you're starting to see these kits pop up more at like hobby stores. They're carrying them more and more, especially online. They got new stuff coming out too, which is very exciting. And that's what you want to see from a company. You know, you want to see a company progress, come out with new stuff, change the tooling. You know, when they released their Lamborghini kits, those Liberty Walk ones, one of the things I really loved about that is the technology with the wheels that connect to the bottom chassis, because it was very adjustable, where you can easily by clicking it, like just moving it, you can do a camber look on there, you know. And also that kind of technology would work even on let's say like a 64 Impala, you know. Not that it would fit, I'm not saying that, I'm just saying, like, let's say if Revell somewhat adopted that kind of technology and was like, all right, we're gonna do this lowrider edition where you can actually like lift and drop the car. You can have the front end like if it got lifted up, and then the back end, right? Or even like maybe a 3-wheel motion, you know, but it's just very adjustable, you know. That because with the Lamborghini, with the Liberty Walk, since it has a wide body kit, you could either set it up where you have more of a stock stance, you could drop it down to the floor stance, or you could drop it and camber the wheels. And it's really easy to do that, and it stays in position, very versatile. You can move it around. I believe one of their there's Celsior, the VIP kits does the same thing. So there's a lot of versatility with that kind of technology, and I hope they adopt and do a little bit more of that with a lot of other kits that seem to be more of that like dropped like stance. Like if they did that with some of those like Toyota Hilux trucks, would be pretty sick. Like the ones that are slammed, you know. Maybe it probably wouldn't work with every kit they have, because you know some of them are more traditional, just like a stock kit. But as far as like the ones they do that are more like lowered, I think those would look awesome if they did something like that with those right there. But yeah, they're coming out with a lot of cool things down the pipeline. It's almost like it's like anything, you know. You go to any kind of convention, and they're introducing like the new comic books, the new toys, the new movies, the new whatever, you know, the new clothing lines. You start to really be like, wow, like it gets you hyped up, you know. And it's tough when like there's really nothing coming out. It's just the same thing, you know. It gets a little redundant, and this way it just gets people excited, looking forward to, all right, cool. And it also opens up like more doors for stuff, and just seeing like people adapt to it with the 3D parts and all the 3D things that they're creating for the kids is pretty cool. I'm just tripping out how many people are 3D printing now like crazy, you know. Like I go on X, I go on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube, and you just see everybody has like their own little company. Everyone has their own parts, their own, you know, this and that. It's a trip, like just seeing like all the variety of different stuff. And you also see people at the shows too, like selling stuff. Like when you go to a hobby show, like they'll be selling some of the items right there. So that's pretty neat, man. It's pretty crazy right there to see all that. And you know, this year I got, like I was saying in the previous podcast, I got a couple shows to be vending at. The WonderCon in Oxnard that's in September, and then also we have the Spirit of Speed at the NHRA Museum that would be taking place all in November, I want to say. We got that gig right there as well. So a couple gigs that are coming up. I'm definitely gonna have to make like a little like a flyer of letting people know where I'll be at vending, and I'll have to set that up on the site, because you know, for my customers that come to the site, browsing all the items, making their purchases, and for some of the customers that are in California who would like to see us in person or buy from us in person, you know, that could be an opportunity right there to meet up and get to meet you, you know. So you know, this way it's my part of also promoting the event, letting people know that we're gonna be there, and hopefully you can make it. Mark your calendar. I'm also planning to go to Atlanta as well, to the Acme show. My homie Dennis Matthews, shout out to him, he had hit me up, giving me some info on that, and he said he's gonna give me some more info later, but just kind of giving me the lowdown right there. So yeah, it seems like Friday is the best time to be there on that Friday because of a meetup. There's like a meetup that goes down. So I do plan on bringing some model cars with me. Right now my thoughts are like, I want to go for the experience. I've never been to this show, so I'd want to like bring my models and not really have to worry about carrying a bunch of stuff, you know. Just carrying like the very minimal to the event, and you know, register and all that, and just like set the cars up and just hang out, really get down to some content, record, and meet some people, you know. I want to meet all the people that I talk to online, you know, that I wonder if I'm pretty sure NYS model goes there all the way from New York. I hope so. I'm pretty sure he does, but we'll see what's up. I think George has mentioned that to me, but I'll see what's up, man. But as time goes on, I'm gonna make an announcement once it's official. Once I have my plane ticket and all that set up, then boom, I'm gonna go ahead and make an announcement, make it official that I'll be going out there in October. There's another show going down a week before that just recently got announced on Instagram. This is in Texas, and it's in Denton, Texas. When I hear the city Denton, Texas, the only person that comes to mind is Detail Junkies. So I'm not sure if this is his event. There's probably a high chance it is. Not sure yet, but I'm gonna guess that it could be. But there's gonna be a show going down. I believe it's called the Texas Showdown Model Show. Man, I could be wrong. I gotta look at the flyer once I slow down. We're going pretty fast right now on the freeway. But yeah, once I'll dig up the info, check on my phone, gotta dig through it, boom, and I'll let you guys know. But yeah, I was going, oh dang, it's in October too, but it's I believe it's the weekend before the Acme, the Atlanta. So it'll be the Texas show, then be Acme, and then after that it'll be Halloween weekend. So a lot going on in that month of October, right there. But yeah, in Texas, there's going to be a model show out there. Not too long ago, there was someone that had hit me up on Facebook, and he was telling me that he does this gig where he'll go to an event, he'll set up a tent, and he's been getting slowly, he's starting slow, getting sponsors and stuff. So he was saying he managed to get some kids from round 2 models and stuff. And I guess the purpose behind the thing is to be able to for people to come over and build a model kit, participate, build a model kit right there at the spot, and they could take that with them, and I thought that was pretty cool, so he had reached out asking if I had any stickers or any kind of swag, and I sent him a bunch of stickers and some glue, because I figured, okay, you're gonna most likely need some glue, and it was a recent event, he just did it, he posted it on Facebook, and I saw it. I was like, oh damn, that's cool, and yeah, they got their tables, the tent, and everything set up, and I could see my stickers right there, and I don't know, I just it just meant a lot, seeing that, because I was like, man, he's starting out, he's I don't know if this was the second one that he did, because he had done one before, because he had shown me some photos of a previous one, but I just thought it was pretty neat, man. I was like, oh man, that's pretty dope. And he could tell he's doing it out of love, too. He wants to get people involved and everything, and he's just doing his thing. And I was like, oh man, I gotta bless this dude with some other stuff for the next one, So I'm gonna reach out to him and just be like, yo, what's up, because I saw the post and everything right there that he shared, and he also printed out a thing with with my website and everything right there to promote. And I was like, dang, that's cool, man. He had all the other companies that I helped him out, right there. And but I mean, I didn't really do much, but I was like, dang, that's pretty nice of him to do that, and I don't know, a lot of the times I feel like that means a lot, because it's in reality, as a company, when when people ask for like donations or whatever, all a company really wants is to get their name out there, right? Like, no matter what, like, even if like there's no, let's say no, there's no event, no nothing, right? Like every day, think about it. Like, you watch TV, there's branding all the time. You're driving on the freeway, there's billboards, there's everything, right? It's getting the name out. Now in this modern day and age, it's like email blasts, word of mouth, social media, everything. You pay to get it out there, right? So with events, like when people want, like, hey, can you sponsor us? Can you donate? Can this? Can that? A lot of the times, like, for a company to like hook someone up and everything like that, that's like the payment, let's say, that's like the form of payment that you're hooking someone up, is like what you would pay a company to promote you, right? One, you're paying cash, the other one you're paying in products that you also paid cash for. So it's just another form of payment, let's say, right? But what happens is, and we've seen this before, and even I've experienced it myself, but whenever like you get in a situation where you're going to partner up with someone, or you're going to sponsor someone or whatever, and like let's say you're hooking them up, and the plan is like, all right, I need this bill or whatever, or in return, just make sure you promote my brand or tag me or whatever, right? And like, when there's no promotion on the other end at all, like there's just none whatsoever, then it's not gonna last long, I'll tell you that. Like, for sure, it's not, but whenever it's one of those like those rare situations when someone's like yo, kind of like how this is, like, yo, do you have anything, and this and that, and you're like, yeah, that's cool, but you're not really expecting much. But then they kind of go all out, and they promote you like crazy, and they do all these things. You go, wait a minute, whoa, damn, like, oh, what? I think when that happens, you go, oh man, I gotta hook this dude up. Like, you know what? He went above and beyond. I got this dude, or this company or whatever, right? And but it happens like that. It just happens, A lot of the times, we could be like hitting up a company like, yo, like, I'll do this and I'll do that, but then things could happen, you could get paused where you can't even do any of that, and you feel weird, like, oh man, I promised them this and I can't even deliver now. So it's like, oh man, I can't do it. And then, little by little, those opportunities fizzle away, and then you kind of know why. It happens. It does happen. But I'm kind of the same. Like, I'm operating a business, especially now that I moved. I have a much more bigger responsibility. I have a roof over my head that I need to take care of. I have my daughter and everything, and I have to work hard, like even more than what I was, to be able to sustain another income, to be able to like continue with what I'm doing. And for me, it's very important, if I'm gonna like do a sponsorship collaboration with somebody, like, it's got to be a good fit for both. It's got to be a good fit for myself. It's got to be a good fit for the person who I'm going to be working with. I know with people I work with, I don't want to stress them out. I don't want to be a person that's going to be like barking at you or whatever, or being very militant about something, I want it to be very like, yo, do your thing, because you're an artist, I don't want to put no pressure. I think it's more of just like the understanding of like, look, dude, like, I got you, let me know what you need, I got you, and at the same time, like, I hope you got me too, you know. I don't want to say like, oh, why I'm expecting it, like, hey dog, but you know what, I hope you got me too. And you know, it's one of those things, like, you know, if in time I feel like, oh, well, it's not a good fit, then, you know, we got to part ways, or it's just not gonna work. It is what it is, you know. It's gonna happen, you know. But to me, I'm not gonna have any hard feelings or anything like that, you know. Maybe we could work later, you know, but it is what it is. I mean, it happens a lot in business, you know. It's like, you know, I've experienced this, you know, with my parents' business. Like, I'll be in charge of like house accounts with companies that we work with. You know, we do orders. You know, they put an order like monthly, weekly, yearly orders with us, and sometimes there's times where they'll hit us up ahead of time. Hey, I want to order this. All right, we get it on an order until the date, and we get it done. But then there's times where, you know, you realize, wait a minute, I'm looking at the calendar, the schedule, they haven't hit me up. You know, let me reach out to them. Maybe, I don't know if maybe they forgot or what's up. Let me see a reminder. But right there and then you find out a lot of the times, oh, you know what? They're nice enough to also just kind of tell you, hey, you know, we actually, we're going through a new vendor, or we found another vendor, you know, for this event or for this and that, you know. And you can't take it personal, you know. You just have to keep it chill, you know, and be like respectfully, and be like, oh no, it's all good, you know, like you know, thank you for the opportunities, you know, that you guys gave us and stuff like that, and you know, like, or thank you for letting me know, because, you know, they kept it cool when things were good, and because they found another vendor, you know, a lot of times it's not their decision, it could be someone else's decision that makes that call, you know. Maybe they're on a budget, maybe they want to try something different just to see the quality of work that we were giving them versus someone else's, right? And only time will tell if they go, you know what, I'm kind of not feeling this new vendor, let's go back to who we had, you know, because anything could happen, right? Anything, you know. Or maybe they're like, you know what, actually this new vendor is actually pretty dope, you know, it's probably better or whatever. Anything could happen, but that's just how it is, you know. It's the name of the game. And you know, with the business, it's kind of like that, you know. A lot of the times, you know, I get hit up a lot from different companies offering their services, offering their products, and the products look awesome, they look great, you know, but I can't carry that stuff. Sometimes I'm just like that looks dope, man, but I just can't, or I really don't have interest in carrying that, you know. And it's nothing personal. It is what it is, you know. But maybe down the future I will carry it. Maybe that will change in the future, you know. So we'll see what's up with like those kind of things, like right there, you know. But I thought that was pretty nice of that dude to like do that right there, and yeah, you know, I'll have to reach out to him, and I'll have to send something out to him to hook him up, because I thought that was pretty awesome. I think with those kind of events too, I think Snap Kits would work really great, especially for new people that are just coming over, saying what's up, and seeing like what's gonna, you know, they don't know what to expect. All you would need is like a bunch of nippers to snip out the parts and just snap it together. And I mean, you could always take it apart also, you know, and customize it or do whatever you want to do. But yeah, the 132 scale kits from Aoshima, they're pretty dope. You know, they got a lot of modern kits, like up-to-date cars that are on there, that I was like, oh, what? They're doing this one? Dang, the R35? What? I just hope that I start seeing these out in the events, like busted out. Because eventually later, then there would be like a category for 132 scale, you know, out. But instead of like putting it in the miscellaneous section. I think that would be pretty cool right there. Today I'm actually picking up a bunch of product that I'm very excited about. We got a huge product restock of initial D kits. So a lot of initial D kits from Aoshima, and also some new additions from Fujimi that are stepping into the store. We got those in. So do expect a video later with that, and I will also be doing an email blast for that. So those of you that are not signed up, please sign up on there. Recommend it. The list is growing little by little. I'm trying to get as many subscribers as possible on there to send stuff out right there. And yeah, so those kits are coming in. Some 132 scale, the RX7s are in, those as well. The Mr. Hobby thinner, I believe it's the 250 milliliter bottles. So because they have a large one, I think that's the 500, and I think this one's actually 250, so it's like half the size. So we got the 250 on there, and that's all lacquer thinner that you can use with Mr. Hobby paint. Later we'll get the leveling thinner. We'll get that in right there as well. And we got lots of tape also. So we got tons of tape from Tamiya in stock. The refills, the tape refills, and also the ones that come with the housing already. We got some of those also. So please be aware if you're looking for some tape. We got all that stuff. So this week is going to be packed with a lot of restocks. So we got the kits that came in, and then tomorrow, Tuesday, I'm expecting a package of a lot of detail parts, like tons of detail parts from different brands that are going to be coming into the store. Want to do a video on that as well. So I'm pretty hyped on that right there. And try to think of what else it's coming in. So I'm keeping my eye out for things, whatever you guys are looking for, just keep me posted. But yeah, those restocks are definitely coming in right there, so you guys could check that out. And yeah, I gotta set up my table with my camera, so this way I could also get like more in depth, like showcase of some of the stuff where I could even possibly like open up a kit and just to kind of show you guys what's in a kit, like what comes in one or whatever, for those that don't know. A lot of the times, a lot of the homies jump on the live and they're in there interacting and just like checking it out. But once in a while we get some new people that come in also just to chill, check it out for a bit and kind of see what's up. And I feel like for them, it'd be kind of nice to have this kind of stuff out there as well. I will be also doing some videos mixing House of Color paint. I was talking about that last night in the video when we were streaming live. I do want to get down to showing you guys the mixing of the pearls, the metallics, and the candies. And eventually, when I get down to a clearing, we'll do the clearing of the car as well, like mixing the clear and just shooting it. I'm just trying to think, like, I wonder if it would be a good idea if on the camera, if I'm going to be shooting clear, and if I'm going to be kind of in there with the camera, if I should wrap the camera with like saran wrap or like some type of plastic or just something that's very transparent, So this way, when I clear, it doesn't layer on the camera itself. And if it does, they'll capture it on there, and then later I could just take off that piece of film off, or the saran wrap, whatever I end up going with. And this way, it protects the lens, and I'm not risking it. Like, oh dang, like, I got this thing. I jacked up this thing right here. That way it'll be pretty chill. So we'll see, man. We'll see what I end up doing, but I definitely need to re-up on the little bottles, the little jars from Tamiya, because those are perfect. Those are so dope for mixing your paints and storing them in there. There's just so much cool stuff you can do with that right there, where you could you could store them in there, and in a way, and you know what? Regardless if it's like cold temperature, hot temperature, they hold up in there really well. Like, they do really, really good. If anything kind of gets out, let's say like the thinner or the reducer evaporates, you could always just put a little bit more in there and just like agitate it, shake it up pretty well, and you'll be good. A lot of that stuff's very user friendly. It works really great together. I used to be like, oh man, you can't put too much or too little or what. I was being like so anal about like the mixing. But just over time from using it, you start to go, all right, cool. It's not that crazy. Like, it's pretty user friendly right there, which I like. Yeah, but hey guys, I'm gonna let you guys go right here. We're gonna end this one right here. Scale Riders Podcast, Motorcar Culture, 65 Lokes, episode 251. Keep on building, guys. If you guys need anything, please check us out at scaleriders.com, and we will be shipping out things weekly. I think I'm doing like I think 2 times a week, but later I'm gonna bump it up to 3 times during the week. It's just now the move. We just completed our second week of where we're at, so a bit more situated, and everything's already like going in order how we had things going. So I hope you guys are doing good. Take care of yourselves. Hope to see you in the future and around town. All right, guys, peace out. Later.